Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm back, making another vid about, about to do my weigh-in on this, excuse me, about to do my weigh on this whole fiasco down there in Springfield about this lady down there getting killed by these, damn race soldiers. I mean, if you ask me, bro, if there was ever any evidence of the fact that there are race soldiers within the so-called police, that right there is prime example. If Sandra Bland didn't do it, if the lady in Kentucky, Breonna Taylor, didn't do it, this one did it. If a Tatiana lady, I think that was out in Texas a few years back, where she got killed in her own home. I mean, in her fucking home, bro. In her fucking home. If that wasn't proof enough, maybe this is. Just maybe. Now, I don't want to go too far deep into the video as far as what happened, because if you're here, I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that you've already seen the video and you know the details. I mean, there was still some details that were kind of gray to me, like whether or not she put the pot down in time before the race soldier shot her. And but I listened to AC's video, and I saw it where they showed it on the news where, you know, she had put the pot of hot water down. She had set it down, then put her hands up, and the race soldier still killed her. Oh, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it, because this is too rich. This is too good. In the sense, not good as if this is a good thing. Oh, hell no, that's not even close to what I'm talking about. But good in the sense that, well, this is what I've been talking about. It wasn't too long ago. Y'all know, it wasn't too long ago that I made a couple of videos about these race soldiers, and and I expressed my thoughts about them, who they are, how they interact with people, how they escalate, how they accuse, how they fish, and how they escalate so as to damn create a scenario and situation by which not only do they get you up out of here, but they find a way to justify harming you. Because I mean, let's quarterback the whole scenario in Sonia Massey's case. The only thing I want to know is how the fuck did the officers, and why the fuck did the officers even enter her home? First of all, she's the one who called them. And you know something, that takes me back. I couldn't help but recall two things that happened during my time in Memphis, during the 27 years that I lived in Memphis. You know, my grandmother wasn't too fond of the police herself. And I wasn't necessarily fond of the police, but I was pretty, whenever there was some sort of disarray or disorder, I was pretty known for basically doing some caring shit. Like, yeah, dialing 911, calling the police, getting the police involved. And my grandmother always would tell me, don't call the police. She would tell me that. And to me, that just didn't make a whole lot of sense because, like, okay, it's the police officer's job to handle cases like this. Like, if there's something going on, like whether it's a fight, whether some niggas shooting at each other, things that I have indeed witnessed. Like, if there's some sort of chaos going on, it's supposed to be the police officer's job to go out there and, do what they got to do, break up the situation. I mean, whether they gotta disperse, some rowdy motherfuckers, fighting over the last piece of chicken, or arrest somebody, or hell, maybe even shoot somebody if somebody, want to take it on the cops, right? You would think. But it takes me back. There was that incident, or like I said, it wasn't just one isolated incident. My grandma told me several times not to be up here calling the cops. And I remember one time, I don't know where I was coming from. Knowing me, I was probably jogging my way back to the University of Memphis campus. And on the way back, wherever it was I was coming from, I don't exactly remember. It was just over there, over on Southern and Patterson. Like, I often talk, and I use that because that was pretty much where we were, and that's where that whole Eliza Fletcher incident happened a couple years back. Because that's, like I said, that's where I would park. I would park on the southern side of campus, over by Southern Hall. That's where my dorms were. That first semester, my first semester of college. And even after that, where, I stopped living in those dorms, I would still park there. So I'm pulling up in that big ass parking lot, right? And I see some head case. I mean, because at the end of the day, we know that this shine is crazy. It's something wrong with this Negro. And further proof of the fact that there's something wrong with this Negro was the fact that this nigga was beating on some sign with a stick. Now, what sign it was like one of those traffic signs. It was like, it was a yield sign. Yeah, he was beating on the yield sign with a stick. Right? So I called, and I recall using actual, instead of using my own phone, I recall using the university's phone, because they had these phones on site by which you could call campus police, right? And I recall using that and very well describing the shine bone that was given that yield sign that worked, basically. But see, this was when I was naive. This was when I actually, for some odd reason, still believed in the system. This was long before COVID. This was long before all these goofy-ass incidents. Now, by this time, because this was like 2016, 2017, Some along those lines. Hell, it might have been 2015. It's been a good while. But even still, I remember calling the police on this dude and describing the clothes that he had on. That he was wearing a red shirt and some red shorts. I think I want to say in my former videos, like the videos that I used to make about Memphis, before I deleted them all, and the reason why I deleted them all is because I kept on getting community strikes, and I was sick of that shit. Because people are genuinely offended by the truth, bro. It's crazy how that works. They do the most foul, flagrantly foul, fucked up shit, but God help you if you actually speak out about it, like what I'm doing now. I mean, make that make sense, bro. Make human behavior make sense, bro. It would be like, I mean, to me, it would be like a nigga getting out here messing around, fondling around with little kids, and then getting mad being called a pedophile. I mean, it just don't make no sense to me. Anyway, so I gave a description of what he was wearing. I, on the other hand, just happened to be wearing a white tee and some red pants, or red shorts, if you will. And really, my pants weren't even really red. They were burgundy. Because I was wearing my Thai fisherman pants. That's something I wear every summer. It's something I wear, I mean, it's what I've been wearing this summer. So I've had a very long tradition of wearing Thai fisherman pants, or shorts, if you will, you know, especially down there. Man, I can't even recall how long it's been that I even discovered something like Thai fisherman pants, and I always wore them in the same color, burgundy. Just like what I got now. I got burgundy fisherman pants. And for whatever reason, I was making my way throughout the UC. I mean, I didn't have much business down there. In fact, I'm pretty sure I just went there to use the bathroom, because I want to say I was just working out over at the field house over there, you know, on campus. You know, the field house has a track, and for whatever reason, instead of using the inside, because, you know, usually it'd be locked, the field house would be locked, but there'd be like a crevice or like a little crack so that you could get in. And then, you know, they had the basketball gym too, so it'd be hot as hell, knowing that Memphis heat in the dead middle of summer. But it'd be cold. I mean, that AC would be blasting on in that women's basketball gym, in that field house. But for whatever reason, instead of going in there to use the bathroom, I went into the UC, the University Center, to use the bathroom. And when I came out, I saw like 3 campus police officers. And they up here hemming me up. Mind you, over the call that I put in. And I asked them, I'm like, you hemming me up. Let me ask you something. Okay, officer, let me ask you something. Is this about the call that y'all got about some whack or some nut job banging on the yield sign? Is this what this is about? And they were like, yeah, we got a call about. Well, did you not hear the description? Did you not hear the description? The description was an African-American male with a red tee and some red shorts. Is that not what you got? Is that not the description? And meanwhile, I'm up here pulling out, bro, at this point, it was post-graduation. I'm pulling out my alumni card on them. Not my student ID. I'm like, I'm not a damn student. You're right. I'm not a student. I'm an alumni. And bro, when I tell you, bro, just how much them motherfuckers, I mean, I'm a graduate from that university, and I still had access to several things. I had access to that gym, and I had access to the library. Man, them motherfuckers was over there treating me like I was trespassing. Like I'm just some nigga who just off the street, who just, like I said, just trespassing through the university. Like I didn't go there for 7 years and give them and put in all that tuition, put in all that student loan money that I'm currently paying now. Like I didn't do that. Like I'm a visitor or a trespasser for that matter. Fuck out of here. But I was like, did you not get the description of what the crazy fuck was wearing? Red shirt, red pants. What am I wearing? Because, yeah, you got the race right. Yeah, I fit the description that far. Yeah, because I am a quote-unquote African-American. Yeah, I'm a so-called African-American. So you got that much right. You got the red shorts right, because I'm wearing red shorts. But what color is my t-shirt? What color is my t-shirt, bro? It's white. And who do you think made the call? I did. I put in the call. I'm the one trying to call you about this nigga beating on the yield sign way over there on Southern and Patterson. So why in the fuck are you up here looking for a nigga in the UC? What, you think a nigga gonna, what, you think the whack job is gonna beat on the yield sign and then go into the UC to to get him something to eat from Dunkin' Donuts and then stop for a bathroom break? Maybe log into one of the computers in the computer lab? What are you doing? What are you doing besides wasting time and allowing the perpetrator to get away? People, I'm trying to tell you what the police force is, bro, because it's been going on for some time, and that ain't the first time that I've been accosted by campus police, let alone police period. And isn't it interesting? Am I the only one who's noticed that police officers will more often than not accost, harass, and even worst case scenario, harm and kill people who are out here not even committing crimes versus the people who actually are out here committing crimes. The people who are out here riding dirty, doing dirt. Out here doing dirt. You notice that the police never fuck with them? You notice that people who actually, do mass shootings, do mass murders, never seem to get into it with the police? And even when they do, they tend to survive? Versus the people who get hemmed up by the police, not really doing it, and they be the ones who end up getting shot, unarmed? Just like here. Just like in this case, and in this most recent case with Sonia Massey. Bro, America is just topsy-turvy, bro. Is it any wonder that I found little to no relative success in this country? When everything, its foundation, its structure is ass backwards polar opposite. Like I said, the niggas who are out here doing the most dirt, and when they do get into shootouts or get into it with the police, they end up being the ones who actually live to tell the story. The motherfuckers Whereas the innocent, the people who are out minding their own business, doing their own thing, not fucking with nobody, are the ones at this point, it's safe to assume these are the people that the police are targeting. They are targeting us at this point. And now that I think about it, with what I told y'all about what happened to me last year, what I told y'all, like I said, where I basically ran it, fuck couple of videos back where I ranted about the police. I'm like, well, yeah, I can't. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't help but say I told you so. See, one thing that I find very interesting, as well as hypocritical about humanity, is that it ain't never a problem when it happens to somebody else. It's only a problem when it happens to them. Because, I'm fully aware that society doesn't care about men. Women don't care about men. They don't care about our problems. To which we like, okay, so is it any wonder that we're divorcing from you? And I don't mean not like marriage-wise. I mean like we're getting away from you. And now that you're starting to live and experience the things that men have long endured, now it's a problem. It's just like, well, yeah, it's just like my situation. There ain't no shame in my game to tell y'all that it's been years since I've been in anything remotely close to a relationship. Since I've gotten some butt, and it damn sure I ain't had none since I've been out here in Colorado, and I've been living here almost 7 years. See, it wasn't an issue, and here's the point that I want to make about that. And I'm not saying that we don't care. Like, you get to a point when you finally realize just the diabolic, satanic nature of this country, you just stop caring. Especially when you know that there's something better overseas, that the grass is green on the other side. Hence passport bros. And that's when you realize that you just got to find a way to get the fuck up out of America, which is what I'm working on as we speak. But let's quarterback this thing. It wasn't a problem then. In fact, it was funny. You didn't see it as a problem. This was just part of America's little entertainment gig where they poke fun at the I guess you can say the non-select men. Despite all, I can say all of my advantages. My height, my youth, my looks, being in shape, everything that normally would be elements that would cause a ninja to win. But the problem is, when you play the dating game here in America, it's already rigged for you to lose. And now we're finally starting to see the fruits of that. And now more men, and now it's affecting the women, because more men are throwing their hands up and walking away, doing something that I've been did years ago. Now it's a problem. Oh, think about how interesting that sounds to a nigga who's, to whom that's been a problem. Now, I'm not here to talk about the whole dating thing. I mean, it may correlate to Sonia Massey to a more or less extent due to the fact that she didn't have no nigga, but that ain't what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like I said, what's happened to black men dealing with police, what's happened to me dealing with the police, and now that it's happening to a female, interestingly enough, like I said, with Sonia Massey, Sandra Bland, Tatiana, I want to say her last name's Johnson. Now it's a problem. It's a problem now. It wasn't a problem before, but it's a problem now. Am I the only one who's picked up on that hypocrisy? And if I have, well, let me just say this much. Let me tell y'all this little parable that I learned, a couple of years back, because I used to read these books. It was like this Nepalese dude. And I want to say I got this parable from one of his books, but wherever it was I got the parable from, I never forgot it. And that parable, my friend, is the story of the farmer, basically the mouse, the farmer, and his terminally ill wife. Now, on this farm, there lived a farmer with his terminally ill wife. I know it sounds like a bedtime story, but hear me out. There was this farmer with this wife who was terminally ill. So there was this mouse who overheard them talking that the wife is sick, and immediately upon hearing that, it warrants concern. See, the mouse got it. So he runs to the barn where the farm animals are, where there's a chicken, to say the least. There's a chicken, there's a cow, there's a pig. And he runs to them, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth, he says to them is, "The wife is sick. The wife is sick." To which the chicken, the cow, the pig replied, "So what? So what? We don't care. She can die for all we care. Fuck do we care?" You see, they didn't get it. See, so basically, to make the long story short, because it wasn't terribly long. So, in an effort to cure his wife, or, because I don't even think that, I say that the wife was terminally ill, but I don't think the farmer knew that she was terminally ill. But, for spoiler alert, she did die. But before that, the farmer clung to the hope of, getting her better. So in doing so, he needed some chicken soup. He decided to make her some chicken soup. So off with the chicken's head. The chicken dies. The same chicken who said, "I don't care. It ain't my problem." Soon after that, her health kind of recovers, but again, this sickness is getting the better of her. So, in an effort to, again, for the sake of getting her to recover, he decides, well, the chicken soup didn't help, so maybe I can get some beef broth and and some other meat, like something that's got a little more iron to it. Steaks, ribs, but particularly beef broth. So off goes the cow's head. Now the cow has died. The same cow who said he don't care. It ain't his problem. So he cuts up a whole cow. So she's eating steak, eating broth, eating ribs, all the parts, all the fixings of the cow. And just as soon as it seems that she's making a speedy recovery, the illness continues to progress in this woman, and she dies. So for the funeral, they needed a funeral feast, to which they decided, well, I already killed the chicken. Well, we already killed the chicken. We already killed the cow. So the feast will be, the funeral feast, we'll just have some piggy roast. And thus, after that, off with the pig's head. The pig was the last to die. And the only one who remained among them that was still living was the mouse. And of course, the farmer. Everybody else died. The wife, the chicken, the cow, and lastly, the pig. It would seem to me that very same parable, and I learned more from that than I ever did, these fables like I've heard over the years, like Animal Farm and other stories that I've heard over the years concerning, farm animals. That one seems to, in American society, that seems to have applied the most. I cried for justice in my dealings with American society. And my thing was, something's going on with these goofy ass. And mind you now, I've been known about WS. I've been known about race soldiers. I've been studying WS or about it at least since 2014. Or was it 2015? It may have been 2015. It may have been 2015. 2014, 2015. So when it happened, when I had my encounters with the police, like it's to be expected. It's to be expected. When you know who your enemy is, it don't come off funny style. And one thing that you can always depend on your enemy to not do is explain to you why they doing what they do. But I tell you what though, 38 years on this planet has taught me quite well. So Tyrone, Pookie, and Ray Ray ain't just gonna step up and basically not fuck around and find out. Like, no, you getting Swiss cheese, bro. And same with Brad. Same with Keisha. Same with all these entities in this society that have made it their personal objective, their personal plight, if you will, to show you that they're your enemy, that they are enemies. Now, having said all that, this woman dying for no apparent reason is nothing more than a reflection of the culture of American police, if you will, for lack of better words. The type of people who are roaming our streets in these police vehicles, carrying badges, carrying guns. And they often say that the police are the biggest gang in the country. That didn't make a whole lot of sense to me at first, but now it makes perfect sense. It makes so much sense because unlike these street gangs, many of whom some are better funded than others, but unlike them, the police are well funded. And I'm willing to say they're well funded because they're well funded by the very people, and I've stated this too, the very people they go out here and kill. Us. They're funded by our tax dollars. These deputized terrorists who, like I said, rather than get into some shootout with Pookie and Ray Ray, because, man, I've seen, yeah, now that I think about it, bro, I've seen Keishas do to police officers, like, I've seen, like, I mean, it just don't make no sense when you look at this country, man. When you see people who have died for far less of crimes, complying with the officer, following the officer's orders, whatever it is that the officer is telling her to do, she's doing it. Nonetheless, dying for far less than what I've seen scraggle-daggles out here doing. Fighting the officer, resisting the officer, running away from the officer, cussing the officer out. They managed to make it to jail alive. Somebody tell me what's wrong with that. Somebody tell me, like, the irregularity in that. I'm saying all that to say that the people who are most compliant with police usually are the ones who end up dying under their custody, in their detainment or whatnot, while they're detaining you. Because that's become a thing. And like I said, the motherfuckers who are out here fighting with police, and hell, even having shootouts with police, they the ones making it home alive. Well, maybe not home, but they're getting locked up. They're going to jail or prison, but they still alive. Somebody make that make sense. I mean, look at Dylan Roof. Look at the dude who did that shooting in Uvalde, Texas. That's what I'm saying, bro. They real tough. They real tough with somebody who ain't got the gumption to fight back. They real tough when it comes to, small women, old people, like I said, people who ain't got the gumption to fight back against the deputized terrorist who's, like I said, well in his 20s, well in his 30s, well in his prime. I mean, bro, that would be like a damn, to me, bro, that's about as cowardly as UFC fighters getting out here and they got, armed to the teeth with guns, getting out here fucking with old folks, fucking with people outside their range of size and might. Outside their range of size and might. Ain't trying to pick on nobody. Their own size ain't trying to pick on nobody who got the same kind of amp as they do when it comes to firepower. They're cowards. American police are cowards. They're cowards, they're Satanists. And they're psychopaths. And with any luck, the world will see this as an example as far as what American policing is all about. Because this has been going on for far too long. And the justice system is coddling these psychopaths. Because you take this dude, whose name, I've forgotten, don't care to remember anyway, the dude who killed Sonia Massey, he's had it out. He's had it out with the military, during his time in the Army. And he's had it out with several police departments, with which instead of just getting fired and getting his ass up out of there, they just reprimanded him and just had him transfer over to another department. And basically switching this nigga around like a temp worker. You know, being a police officer is probably one of the most I would say it's probably one of the most financially secure jobs out there. And if I were a lesser man, I'm here to tell y'all, if I were a lesser man, I could have easily have become one, my damn self, because one of my albeit fucked up career choices was being a police officer in Memphis. And what do you think would have stopped me from becoming a police officer in Memphis? I had the fitness, clean record, 60 hours college credit. In fact, which I eventually added another 60 hours and got rewarded a degree. Got awarded a degree. And with that degree, I probably would have been able to bump up a few ranks instead of just being some average run-of-the-mill, probably. Because like I said, America don't play fair, bro. America has never been fair with me, bro. And I've run the race, bro. What haven't I done in this goofy-ass country? I played the game. I've run the race. And I'm here to tell you, bro, the game is rigged. And that's the main reason why men are walking off. We ain't trying to deal with your jobs like that. We ain't trying to deal with your women like that. We don't want nothing. There's nothing to want. There's nothing to be had. The game is rigged. It's not designed for you to win. It's designed for you to, and I learned a long time ago, the only way that you win a rigged game is you don't play it. It's my moral compass that keeps me from becoming a cop. I can't do it. I can't sit up here and knowingly escalate a situation and fish for a situation to get an innocent person behind bars so that, I'm quote unquote meeting quota and quote unquote doing my job. If that's my job, then I ain't got no business being a police officer. Because my definition, and I know I'm wrong in this, I know, because there's a huge difference. I'm fully aware there's a huge difference and a huge spectrum between what is versus what should be, right? What a police officer should be is somebody who serves the community, who looks out for the protection and the safety of civilians. What a police officer actually is in our society, i.e. race soldier, is somebody who serves, and I said this in the last video, somebody who serves the rich and protects their interest and actually wages war on the poor, wages war on the innocent. Which is why you think they fish so hard to, why do you think they be fishing so hard to put us in jail? The slightest reason to put us in jail. Hope we do something to get us locked up. Dare us to do anything. That's the American police officer for you, dude. That's what it is. And we way too late in the game to be talking about some not all. Well, no, we're well past that, bro. We're well past that. And hey, if you don't believe me, if what happened recently, I was just talking to a coworker of mine about Tyree Nichols. If that's the case, why did Tyree Nichols have to die? Tyree Nichols was about as short of a thug, was about as lacking as much of a thug as Elijah McClain here in Aurora. Not that I live in Aurora, but I live in Colorado. Tyree Nichols was a Sacramento nigga who moved to Memphis and probably brought his California ways over there because he was like on some skateboard and shit. You know, we Memphis niggas don't skateboard like that. That's one thing we Memphis niggas don't do. But now all of a sudden I'm starting to hear about skateboard rings in there and all this other shit. I'm saying, you Memphis niggas some real hypocrites, bro. Calling yourself being the gatekeepers of blackness. I'm like, nigga, miss me with that shit. And now you're up here riding on skateboards. What's up with that, my nigga? Anyway, look what happened to Tyree Nichols. And, you know, it's supposed to be a victory for us because the 6 police officers involved in that bullshit got convicted. So, I mean, that's not gonna bring Tyree Nichols back any more than it's gonna bring, you know, this race soldier getting thrown. Now they threw the book at him. I'll give him that. They threw the book at him because, in addition to his priors, whatever kind of priors that he's had, and I've heard all kinds of, you know, him having DUI charges and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Like I said, the very same people who are out here enforcing the law are out here breaking the law. And these motherfuckers don't even know the law. The law is whatever it is according to them. These motherfuckers make up the law as they go. That's how ridiculous American policing is. And when you consider what American policing is all about and the kind of training that American police get, what do you expect? What can we expect, right? 6 months, I mean, basically boot camp, like the same way they got in the military, right? 6 months, this motherfucker, after 6 months, they taking some police cadet or some police recruit or whatnot. Six months later, he's already a deputized shooter. He's got a gun, he's got a badge. Now, he'll have a superior officer, no doubt. Yeah, he'll be in his probation period for a year. But after 6 months, maybe 8 months, while they finalize all the all the paperwork and everything for him to start his beat, he's out in the street. He's on the beat. You know, again, you know, following his superior officer, doing whatever the fuck in 6 months, bro. And, you know, I learned just from looking at YouTube that it's a little different in a country like Germany. You know, in Germany, it takes 2 years to become a police officer. Germany is probably one of the very few countries on this planet that actually does things that actually make sense. And I hear, you know, I wouldn't be surprised, even though I don't know about Japan and what it takes to be a police officer in Japan. I wouldn't be surprised if Japan was, you know, any different than Germany as far as the level of training, the level of scrutiny. But yeah, I mean, somebody has to say it, that American police are just trash. They're trash. They're going around looking for an excuse to blow people's brains out, to accuse them of crimes they know damn well they didn't commit, to put innocent people in jail. Now, what again? What is their motto? To protect and serve. To protect and serve what? The interest of the rich. And the only interest that the rich have is getting richer. And one of the biggest hustles in this country is the prison industrial complex. See, y'all gotta understand something. I'm a chess player, and I know for a fact that the way American police specifically roll, that kind of shit ain't happening in a vacuum. There's in a vacuum. There's a reason why they police like this. They want you to get locked up, if not just flat out kill your ass. But this is supposed to be the land of the free and home of the brave, right? No, I call it the land of the coward and the home of the slave. That's what I call it. But what I hope is gained from this is that instead of people looking at and celebrating this as a victory because the race soldier did get locked up, like I said, they had to throw him under the bus. They didn't have a choice. Had they done this earlier, and one thing I can't help but notice, one point that I cannot help but notice is when it comes to these deputized terrorists, when it comes to these race soldiers, what is the difference between what happened to Sonia Massey as well as others, Breonna Taylor, Tatiana Johnson, Sandra Bland? What is the difference? Because you would think that even if these women were under police custody, that they would be safe. You would think that, right? You would think that. You would think it would be much better for them to be under the custody of the police, even if they're being arrested, even if they've been charged with whatever kind of crime. You would think that their well-being would be would be under professional surveillance, right? You would think that, being cuffed up, locked up, processed in police custody, under police arrest, whatever. You would think they would be safe. But how safe were they? How safe was Tyree Nichols? Unarmed man getting pepper sprayed in Billy Club. With that said, bro, what's the difference between the thugs in blue and the thugs out there circling out and about that we have to worry about breaking into our homes, breaking into our property and whatnot, and being a terrorist and doing whatever the hell? Which is, like I said, which is exactly why Sonia Massey called the police in the first place. She thought somebody was messing around in her backyard. That's why she called now. She wanted to feel safe. And given the outcome, she probably would have been better. She might as well have just been better off if there was somebody back out there and, decided to do whoever it was back there. If there was somebody in there in the first place, she would have been better off if some goon, not that I'm saying I'm supporting goon, if there was some goon in there, broke into the house, told her, give me your money and get on your knees and suck my, and just have her doing all these dastardly deeds and saying, don't call the police or I'll kill you, and then just run off. Because as bad as that is, even if something like that would have happened, at least she'd be alive to tell the story. She called the very people who were supposed to protect her from said criminals, from the very said so-called imaginary criminals who weren't even there. And the very people who were supposed to protect her, the very people that she called on to protect her, ended up killing her. In her own home, in the privacy, in the so-called safety, in the solace of her own freaking in her own pad, bruh. These cops are killing people in their own backyard, bruh. How would they like it? I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta say it. I just can't help it but wonder, how would police like it if people who've had run-ins with cops knew where they stayed, and if not where they stayed, where their family members stayed, and did something similar. Broke into your home, terrorized your family, terrorized you, and shot the place up and killed you in your pad. How would you like that? Because it's only a matter of time. And for some odd reason, what I'm thinking, this is probably what makes me a very bad motherfucker. Cause I'm a shadow too. I ain't got no criminal record, bro. But I just had this crazy idea about it was this movie from the 80s about it was this ninja movie about some ninja. I mean, it's the storyline is goofy. I mean, it's the whole storyline is goofy style. The whole storyline is goofy style. But it starts off with this ninja basically killing this couple, and then he's being hunted down by the police. The police shoot him to shit. But before he dies, he finds this electrician chick, and he speaks this curse on her in Japanese that basically allows, before he gives up the ghost and basically goes to hell, he's got this curse where he basically has access to her body so that he can basically continue to be on earth and possess her. Instead of using his body, he just use her body to possess her and get out here and commit dastardly deeds. So he starts possessing her. Yeah, and via the sword too. He had this ninja sword. So there was this one incident in addition to her, him, whatever you want to call it, the spirit, the ninja demon, whatever, possessing the girl. So he finds, or she, whatever, finds one of the police officers, like the police captain's hideout. I mean, not hideout, but his house, rather. And he's in, his house playing pool and whatnot. And, she basically breaks in there and kills his ass. In addition to, they're having this police funeral. And, as they're doing the funeral proceedings, she starts shooting them with arrows. Bro, does it have to, I just say all that to say, does it have to get that fucked up? Because it seems to me that we're getting there, because it seems to me that in the police state that, the likes of an Alex Jones warned us about, that the police are looking again for excuses to emulate the IDF, that being the Israeli Defense Forces, which we know that under which, American police, get their training from, to go out here and basically terrorize 9-to-5ers, workers, people who aren't part of the criminal element. Because, it's one thing to be a police officer. It's one thing to do policing. It's another thing when you have criminals masquerade, and it doesn't surprise me. That's what crime looks like. Crime is so sophisticated and unique that instead of the criminally minded, instead of just being a regular psycho and criminal going around bank robbing and doing whatever, being a goon, they will find a way to infiltrate police departments so that they can continue in their crime. We've heard about white supremacist units and groups and organizations within several police and sheriff's departments throughout this country. Hell, these two assholes were wearing had white nationalist insignia for tattoos. Now, the first dude, the guy who didn't shoot, apparently he had some Norse mythology tattoo, something from Nordic culture. And the dude who did shoot her, this nigga had a whole tattoo of the Totem Cult SS. This nigga was a whole death head. That nigga was a death head, a whole Nazi. Wannabe Nazi anyway. And well, what did I say about wannabes? What did I say about wannabes? A wannabe SS, a wannabe death head is way worse than a death head. I call them death heads, because totem cult that's exactly what that means, death head. Some call it skull, but the German word for skull is Schäler. Now, totem cult literally means death head. Nigga was a death head. And now he's under the jail. And I mean, the fact that somebody of his record infiltrated the police and worked at several and has all kinds of priors. And whenever you see these cops who do the most, you notice how they have priors. They have run-ins with the unsuspecting, and it's always that way. It ain't never having no shootouts with no gangbangers, no drug dealers, they ain't cracking down on drugs, no crime, no criminal organizations, no pedophile rings, none of that. It's always the unassuming, the unsuspecting, the innocent, the truck drivers of this society, people doing 9 to 5s that they always have priors with. And it's always these people who are complaining about police brutality, how this motherfucker stuck a gun in my mouth and said, I don't like the way, or if I see you again in my town, I'm gonna blow your head off. It's always them type of motherfuckers, dude. It never fucking fails. It's so interesting how that dynamic never seems to fucking fail. This nigga up here billy clubbing. Yeah, like that officer not too long ago who was running up on some unsuspecting teen who ain't had shit to do with it, and he up here slamming his head all up against the concrete. That's who you got in law enforcement. Those are your police officers. But yet we're wondering why an innocent woman was murdered in her own home. Have you ever considered who you got on the force? Are those so-called psych tests really proving whether or not these motherfuckers are batshit? Because, another cop-out that a lot of these police officers like to make is that their job is so dangerous. Their job is so dangerous, right? And that it's stressful, and they got all kinds of PTSD going on with them, right? Because a lot of them are indeed ex-jarheads, ex-soldiers, which again, I don't know why the fuck you would have somebody like that running around in the first place. Somebody with that level of PTSD, because to a lesser extent, I've had PTSD, and I might still have it. Bro, I would be triggered. They would be like, bro, maybe, and I may not have it to the extent, a level as a combat soldier or combat vet, but motherfucker, I have PTSD, and even I have enough sense to distinguish to shoot or not to shoot, especially if somebody is unarmed. That's a cop-out. That's a cop-out. There's too many stories I've heard of police officers literally menacing unarmed suspects with their firearms, mind you, unarmed, beating them up. I mean, if hey, look no further than Aurora. Look no further than Denver. All these goofy ass incidents I've heard of police officers putting hands and feet. And ironically enough, the people that they're putting hands and feet on are usually people who ain't even in no kind of position to be fighting back. Couldn't do nothing to them even if they wanted to. Old blind men, old ladies, women. Couldn't do nothing to the officer even if they wanted to do something to the officer. Can't do that officer nothing. I can do them some. You know I can do them some. They ain't picking on nobody they own size. Talking about their job is stressful. Talking about they got PTSD. Ain't nobody targeting cops like that. In fact, most people make a conscientious effort to avoid cops, whether or not they're scared of them. Don't nobody want to have cops involved in their bullshit. That being the law-abiding citizen as well as the criminal, who should have the cops involved in their bullshit, who the cops should be targeting, but they target us. Well, since you're gonna target us, and since you're trying to make us out to be criminals, because the powers that be are basically have given you the green light to target the innocent, because I see it, bro. You know something's going on when commercial truck drivers are being pulled over and having their canine sicked on them. You know something's up. Something is up. And this furthermore proves my point where I said we don't need the police anymore, bro. We do need to defund the police. As far as I'm concerned, based on the bullshit that I run into on the daily, motherfucker, I am the police. I'm the police, motherfucker. I police these streets. This neighborhood that I'm in now, I police that motherfucker with half the amount of material that you have. And more often than not, we police you. We police you. How many times have we seen people recording and doing, operating within their rights, and you got some deputy dipshit coming up to them talking about, oh, you're trespassing on public property, mind you. Oh, you're filming. You're not allowed to do that. And that motherfucker has to remind them of the law, of what they're allowed to do, and how defensive the officer will get. Simply will not back down, no matter how wrong they are. No matter how much, despite the fact that it's in bold fine print in that, according to that state law, and how that law-abiding citizen is following his rights, that officer will still double down and talk about, like I said, making up the law as they go. Making up the laws as they go. You're not police officers. You're deputized terrorists. And what I would say to my fellow Americans, which, by the way, hey, American police, you want to police somebody, why aren't you policing those Palestinians? From what I heard, ain't there some Palestinians in Washington, D.C. right now pulling down the American flag, setting it on fire, and hoisting up their own flag? Why aren't you policing them? Why aren't you meeting them with the same kind of terroristic antics that you mete out against the American people? Why aren't you doing that? Why has this country allowed our enemy on its own soil? Can anybody explain that? That's what I mean when I say, bro, this country has gone completely haywire. And like, the more we see this country do what it does, the more we need to divorce from it. Divorce from its so-called jobs and its so-called myths of opportunity. Divorce from, chip by chip, piece by piece. We got to divorce from this bullshit. Walk away from this bullshit. And the people's quote unquote society is wondering why so many men are getting up and walking away. And why so many people, a lot of people, are quitting the force. Because they don't want to work with psychopathic assholes like you. Why somebody like me, who could have joined the force, has no restrictions, could easily have joined DPD, is not trying to join DPD or any other neighboring police departments around here. I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't do it, bro. In fact, you should be lucky that you better be counting your stars that I don't want to join the police, because if I did, I wouldn't be out here targeting these so-called criminals. I'd be targeting you. Yeah, I do. I'm an inside job motherfucker. I infiltrate from within. I join the police just to weed the dirty motherfuckers about that motherfucker. But see, I got to do it. Me being on the outside, I got to do that on the outside now. I'm the last nigga you want to be working with on the force. Dirty motherfucker like you. Targeting the innocent, which reminds me, yeah, it wasn't too long ago that they had a whole SWAT team unit raid some grandmother's home and ransacked the motherfucker. I want to say that was a few years back, but even still, that happened out here. And like I said, that's what happens when you deputize cowards. There's a reason why American society hates the police. There's a reason why American society mistrusts the police, because you target them. And ironically enough, you leave the real criminals, the real goons who out here, and where do you think they get the audacity from? Where do you think the common criminal out here gets the audacity and gets the boldness to get out here committing crimes? Where do you think they get that from? They not worried about the police. They ain't scared of the police, because they know they ain't gonna do shit. In fact, that's emboldened them even more. The fact that they'll get out here and fuck with a school teacher, and I get that from the fact that I'm looking at a school right now. They'll get out here and target a school teacher or somebody who work at the school before they would a school shooter. In my book, that's called cowardice. We don't, and like I said in the last video, this is the why we don't need you. We don't need the American police. We are the police, motherfucker. We got our guns. A lot of us got just as much training, if not more than you. Nigga, you got a taser, you got backup. If we're lucky, we got a gun. If we're lucky, we got a knife, and we duke it out all the same. We run into the criminal element just as much, if not, in fact, even more so than you. Because when you come, the criminals scatter. Talking about your job is stressful. Talking about your job is dangerous. Motherfucker, living in America, working a 9-to-5, owning a home, being the property owner of that home, and Securing that home is dangerous. We, the people, the civilians of this country, are in twice as much danger as some goddamn police officer in the U.S. Twice as much. I've been held at gunpoint. I've been held at knife point by the criminal element. And you gonna sit up here and have the unmitigated audacity to talk about your job is dangerous? Proving my point. You're a punk. You're a coward. I don't need you looking after me, bro. I don't need you, quote unquote, protecting me. I don't need the police, bro. Y'all are worthless. Y'all are worthless. You are about as worthless as all these other elements that are composed of American society. You are. I got my First Amendment rights. I got my Second Amendment rights. I have the ability to bear arms. Because like I said, I'm not a criminal, so I can get whatever the fuck gun I want. So members of the criminal element come fucking with me, they gonna get their ass blowed off. And with any luck, I run into like-minded people and we form something, akin to that of something like the Detroit 300. See, that in and of itself is how you police communities. It would take no more than 10 good men loaded to the teeth to take back whatever kind of community is under duress due to the criminal element. No more than that. The police coming around, they up here making deals with because the safety of that community is not their priority. It's not. All they trying to do is make arrests, get plea deals, get all kinds of get these kind of crazy ass convictions, and that's probably back then. Because like I said, they're not even targeting the criminal element anymore. They're targeting people putting donuts, stranded on the road, putting donuts on their tire, putting spares on their tire. Like that incident down in Alabama where that inbred tased that black dude. That's what I mean when I say we don't need you. That's what I mean when I say that, you're not here to protect and serve the people. Because instead of looking at the fact that this man was in distress, under duress, due to having a flat tire, you criminalized him. So again, I ask, what do we need this police force for? We don't need these motherfuckers. And given their origins, because we know the origins of American police, the slave catchers. And that's one tradition, it seems to me, that they've been following since their inception. Targeting individuals trying to change out a flat. You're worthless. You are absolutely worthless. And the fact that our tax dollars goes to your worthless ass, the fact that the American taxpayers' dollars go to your worthless ass just so that you can get out here and terrorize the streets of America instead of putting the real criminals behind, because you are one of the real criminals, I might add, that is the most disgusting fact. That is the most disgusting aspect of this country. And I hope that our enemies learn of the most disgusting aspects of America that practically make up America, make up the foundation of what America is and what it's all about. Which, as far as I can tell, is lies, deceit, hypocrisy, haves and have-nots. and the dividing line between the powerful, and the powerless. Hey, there's your democracy. There's your diplomacy. Shit, just ask a black man if what he thinks, short of a coon. If if he feels any different than the way I feel. America has shown me what the so-called American dream is all about, because all I've seen in my 38 years on this earth is the American nightmare, the American dream. No, it's a nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare. And one of many elements of that are these deputized terrorists who, like I said, are worse, I dare say, are just as bad, if not even worse than the gangs, because, like I said, they got the courts. They have backup. The goddamn courts. The court system, the judges. Real those are your criminals, bro. Those are your criminals. People who have power. I mean, because it's one thing, dealing with some street goon who just wants to, like I said, terrorize the community. Like I said, a community could take care of that. Let some motherfucker running around trying to terrorize, and him his ass up and shoot the motherfuckers up. And the thing about gangs, not that I support gangs, not that I fuck with gangs, but do y'all realize that the reason why gangs were even formed, a lot of gangs were even formed in places like Los Angeles and Chicago, was a response to combat other gangs. Because those gangs would go into their communities terrorizing those motherfuckers. And amongst those gangs that would go in there terrorizing those motherfuckers, guess what one gang would go in there terrorizing those motherfuckers? You guessed it, the police. The police. The very motherfuckers, right? The very motherfuckers that you would think you would be able to call 911 on and rely and trust for your safety, to make sure that you are safe, that your community is safe. Them motherfuckers were going around shooting up innocent black folks. And it got to the point in place, it got so fucking bad that not all, but a lot of several of those gangs were out there and were created as a means to combat other gangs. Like I said, terrorizing their communities, terrorizing the innocent. Hey, the Black Panthers was one of them. The Panthers was one of them. But maybe we'll take heed to those old sayings that, and like, I think one was, I know I'm killing it, but one was like, injustice in one area. Yeah, I think Martin Luther King said that injustice in one area is injustice everywhere. That's true. That is true. As much of a shine Martin Luther King was, some of y'all like to call him Martin Luther Coon. That is true. And another saying that comes to mind: corrupt power corrupts absolutely. Or what was it? Or power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think that's, yeah, the second one was right. It's too easy to become a police officer. I hear in Denver County, you need nothing more than a goddamn high school diploma to become a goddamn police officer. Hell, at least in Memphis, you gotta have You have to have 60 hours college credit to become one. For even less pay, for lesser pay than what you would make here. Because out here, they make 70K. I mean, that's ridiculous. That don't make no sense. And you putting these psychopaths in charge of the lives of people as far as the safety or the lack thereof, making them judge, jury, and executioner of people who are way beyond qualified, as far way more affluent as members of society than they are. What do you expect? What do you expect? And again, maybe that's why in Germany, the requirements for being a police officer is at least 2 years of training in their academies, not 6 months, and a measly high school diploma. I wouldn't want somebody with just a high school education, deciding, determining to be a judge, jury, and executioner over my life, deciding whether or not I get to live or die. Motherfucker, you don't even have a bachelor's degree, and you over here presiding over my life because some dickhead gave you a gun and a badge. Who is you? Who are you to determine the value of my life? Who are you to determine whether I get to live or die? Oh, that's right. I forgot. Forgive me. I tend to forget. A deputized terrorist with a gun and a badge. Like I said, something even worse than the gangbangers. Something worse than the criminal element. Because at least with the criminal element, them being the psychos that they are, at least some of them are aware of the consequences that come their way. And, as much as I call y'all psychopaths, y'all are really sociopaths. Because the fact that you have basically immunity from your crimes against humanity, that tells you that you know what you're doing is fucked up. Now, it may just be part of your satanic rituals in an effort to gain power by killing the innocent and doing all this other. And like I said, it's basically serving the 12 families, doing the 12 families bidding by going out here shedding the innocent blood. Because notice, they are targeting the innocent now. Guilty blood ain't as good, but innocent blood, oh, that's perfect. That's what appeases the demonic, the shedding of innocent blood. And go figure that in the last days that this is exactly how law enforcement would be. I wouldn't expect less. I wouldn't expect less. From a satanic planet such as this, I wouldn't expect less. So I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I think I've said everything. I think I've got all my ranting out. But we gonna have to do something, bro. The people of the past did something. The Panthers did something. Them brothers in Chicago did something. Like I said, whether we got to counteract against gang, like I said, bro, they were faced with all kinds of crazy ass gangs fucking with them, as well as the police fucking with them. They had to do something. And it would seem to me that we're being faced, goddamn, with America's long history from which it cannot and will not divorce itself. Its foundation is just too goddamn racist. It's too goddamn satanic to, like, nothing can be done with America. America can't be healed. It's evil. Its foundation is evil. It's premised on bloodshed, namely, preferably, by its preference, the bloodshed of the innocent. And the exploitation of the quote-unquote lesser races. That being people of color, specifically black people, as well as their murder. Now, while hearing what I've just said, you would think, well, you know, you seem pretty anti-American, girl. I'm like, yeah, but this is still my home until I decide to get the fuck up out of here. And that's why I ranted about the whole thing about, you know, these dickheads in Washington allowing the Palestinians in our land. It'd be one thing if they were doing that in their land, but they're doing it on our land, you know, bringing down the American flag, setting it on fire, hoisting their flag, their Palestinian flag, and these very same race soldiers who target the American people, American citizens, are not targeting them. They're not targeting the people who should be targeted. It's just like with what happened to me last year. Here I am, a paying customer, a card-carrying member of that store. I get trespassed, and shoplifters are running amok in these stores in Colorado, and none of these security guards or these officers ain't busting a grape. You're cowards because you're picking easy targets. You're picking the law-abiding citizens. You're picking the people, you're targeting the people who are actually keeping America running. But it's only a matter of time, motherfucker. We gonna find a way to get them badges up off of you. We gonna find a way to get them guns up off of you. Cause you don't need them. We don't need you to have. You the last motherfucker to be going around carrying guns, bro. I mean, for all we know, you in cahoots with the criminal element. I mean, it would seem so. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to assume something like that. Like I said, we're in a time where paying customers are being trespassed, but shoplifters are being allowed to run amok in these stores. Just like I said, with the criminal element and the so-called police not going to war with each other. It ain't far-fetched to assume that y'all are in cahoots with each other. And that one ain't, not to mention the fact that I've personally seen in my own life, back when I was living in Memphis, this one particular chick who was a police officer. Bro, check this out, bro. She was a police officer and an act of blood. You can't make this shit up, bro. You can't make that up. She was a blood and a Memphis police officer. And you think she got fired upon them discovering that? Fuck no. I think she might have. I'm not even sure, to be honest. I don't think they did. I don't think they fired her. I don't think they did. And that's why, you know, a city like Memphis is not a city to be inhabited. Because, I mean, take my former city, for example. What are the police doing for all that crime down there? Not a goddamn thing. But they got all the smoke, bro. All the smoke for the likes of a Tyree Nichols. A man who came to Memphis 14 years prior from California. A whole nerd, a whole dweeb, if you will. They got all the smoke. Memphis got all the smoke, but they ain't got near smoke. I mean, Memphis police got all the smoke for them, but near smoke for the Memphis mob, for the G's down there, the VL, the Vice Lords down there, the so-called blood sets, the Crip sets, all that criminal organization. And the innocent people have to live down there, and they're the ones faced with, and where the police? Where the police? They're too busy hitting you upside the head with a billy club. They're too busy running you down, checking your tags, treating you like some foreign invader. Like I said, the way they should be treating these Palestinian motherfuckers up there in Washington, doing all that fuck shit, doing some shit that if we did on their soil, they would literally rip us apart. I've heard stories about Americans going to places like Turkey and bringing down their Turkish flag, and the crowd literally just ripped them to pieces. I don't know what it is about this country where people just have this entitlement complex where they feel like they can just shit on us at any chance they get, and now the only difference is they're in our homeland doing that shit. They're in our country doing that shit. It's wild, bro. Like I said, everything that's going on in my life is nothing more than a reflection of the kind of relationship that I have with the vast majority of people. And that has been basically just a whole band of narcissists and psychopaths. Is it any wonder that I've borne no fruit? Coming from that? Coming from that tub of shit? Coming from that gene pool? It's a reflection of my reality. And part of that reality is, like I said, calling out these dickhead members of law enforcement who like I said, who have proven to be nothing more than just no different than, and let me say this about the vast majority of law enforcement in America. You are no different or better with all your antics, with all your stop and frisk, with all your false accusations, with all your escalating. You are no different. If anything, you're worse than the average common fucking criminal. You are even worse than the common criminal. And with any luck, with any hope, the American people will realize that and turn and slam that door on you every chance they get. If anything, if it's anything that we should be voting for, we should be voting for pulling our tax dollars away from these goddamn deputized terrorists. Stop. We need to do something, set something in motion by which wherever they get their funding from, it's not from us. Because I'm fucking sick of it. I'm up here, I get out here, bust my butt, working for the man, just so that I can fund some terrorists who just might Swiss cheese me. It wasn't my turn, but I came close. It was Sonia Massey's turn. Tariq talked about that. How WS has this thing where they go out of their way to pick a Negro. Yeah, ironically enough, you know, if you want to know the origins of pick Nick, yeah, pick a Negro. It wasn't my turn, but I came damn near close. Between Memphis and Denver, I can't tell you how many times I came damn near close. Dealing with these worthless piece of shit motherfuckers falsely, on campus. On campus. Fishing. And to the motherfucker, I don't know if that motherfucker, with any luck, you burning in the lake of fire right now, but I'm pretty sure you still on that campus. Let me ask you something, bro. To that campus race soldier who was a black dude, by the way, you already know what Ice Cube said about the black cop showing up for the white cop. To that campus police officer who was always fucking with me down there, where was you? Where was your black ass when Eliza Fletcher got hemmed up? What was you? Was you too busy going after the? You wasn't too busy going after the nigga who kidnapped her ass on that college campus. The very police. I mean, the very campus that you supposed to be guarding, motherfucker. You wasn't profiling no motherfucker then. And because of you, motherfucker, because you weren't, because your cowardly ass was going after the guppies instead of the sharks. That's why Eliza Fletcher's dead. That's why Tyree Nichols is dead, and that's why Sonia Massey's dead. Complete cowards, bro. We don't need you. We don't need the police in here in America. We don't need y'all motherfuckers. Y'all are completely and utterly worthless. Now I'll get off, because I'll just keep on ranting. I really need to get inside. Go to bed. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. So with election season being here now, that's what we need to elect. Instead of worrying about who our next president is going to be, we need to worry about what our next president is going to do about these deputized terrorists turning this whole country into basically a free fall. You got the Chinese. I mean, bro, you got the enemy. The barbarian is at our doorstep. You got the Chinese seizing all the real estate, don't even live here, but own Texas and California. You got Palestinians in DC setting fire to the American flag. I mean, make it make sense. But the American police officer is targeting the American civilian doing his 9-to-5, doing his own business, minding his own business, being a quote unquote law-abiding citizen. Y'all, I'm gonna leave it at to y'all. Make that bullshit make sense. I'll catch y'all in the next video. I'm out.